Welcome to Haxby Shed. I've bought some bits which we're going to clean up and take a look at. I bought them on eBay. Job lot 11 Int30 adapters. Don't really know what they are yet. I did have a quick look, but not in any detail. So I paid a bit under 50 quid delivered. I had to bid on them. So that works out at under £5 per adapter. Now some of them are going to be directly useful and others I'll just use for something else. You know, I'll use them as an Int30 and maybe try and make a fly cutter or whatever I'm going to do. Okay, so here we go. Let's have a look. So this is how they came to me. I can see this one's lost its end here. Might have snapped off. And I'm guessing that some of them are going to be 12mm, some will be half width, some will be half UNC. And I've got my test bolts here so we can figure out which are which. First up, a large tool holder with a big locking screw at the side. Quickly check, looks like 25mm holder. Thread immediately looks like M12. A slightly reluctant M12, but I'm certain that's what it is. So that should be directly usable. Similar tool holder. That's going to be Imperial, I think, 1/2 inch. So if it's 1/2 inch, it's probably UNC or Whitworth. Let's try Whitworth first. Yeah, that's Whitworth. So I'm sure everybody knows this, but 1/2 inch Whitworth has 13. No, it doesn't. I'm sure everybody knows this. 1/2 inch UNC has 13 TPI. 1/2 inch Whitworth has 12 TPI. I hope this isn't too slow going, folks. Oh, that looks handy. M12, collet holder of some kind. Now, I'm not sure what it is though. It's hollow through, there's no point in the bottom. Sometimes you get that for certain types of collets, don't you? I'll have to check that. It could be ER, don't know. Might have an idea when I've cleaned it up. It doesn't really look like ER though, does it? Anyway, that's M12. That one, so 19mm 3/4 inch, so that's certain to be Imperial thread, and just looking at it I think that's 1/2 inch Whitworth. Yep, it is. Now collet holder but with a pin in the middle. And that one's 3/8, probably 3/8 Whitworth, that one, looking at it quickly. Could be UNC. The thread sizes, thread pitches are the same. So if I was going to use that, I'd machine that out and tap it M12 because my milling machine has M12. Drawbars. Now I know people say, don't worry about the drawbar, you can make any drawbar. Well, you can for the vertical head, not so easy for the horizontal because the drawbar in mine is captive and it's self-extracting. It self-extracts the taper. So yes, I could make one, but I don't want to be swapping drawbars, you know, when they're captive. But likely as not, you know, I'd be using that in the vertical, so blah, blah, blah. Yep, okay. Now this one looks interesting. It's got some kind of collet in it already. Thread looks a bit M12-ish. Maybe. Oh, I can't really tell. Hold on. Let's try half UNC. That's half UNC, I think. I mean, the threads are very dirty, so it could, you know, could need cleaning out. Anyway, I think it's half UNC. I can't tell for sure. But anyway, that looks interesting. Let's look at the size. It's 25, it's inch I think. 25.35, so that's inch, so that's probably going to be half UNC at the end there. Another one of these. I think just a repeat of what we've already seen. 12.75 that says, but I'm guessing it's half inch. And the thread is going to be UNC, I think. I can't tell. It's too gummed up, I can't tell. I don't think it's 12. No, it's not 12. Right, it's a half inch thread, one of those. This one looks interesting. So that's not yet been drilled and threaded, so I'm guessing it was homemade. And I'm going to make a guess that it's 22 mil. Yeah, that's 22 mil, that's good. Because I've got a 22 mil face mill on an MT3 arbor. But if they've got this angle right, of course, you'd hope that they've machined it correctly. That'll be quite good as a 22 mil face mill holder, which I don't have. Now that's quite a nice one. That's M12. Yeah, that's M12. So, as always, a chipped carbide in it there. Aren't they always chipped? Anyway, that'll be a nice little face mill. Yep. 2 more to go. Now this one, yeah, it's got another centre in it there. And you can see the cutouts for the collets. Now I don't know what type of collets these are. Like, once we get it cleaned up, it might have some maker's name on the side. That could it be a Clarkson? A large Clarkson. It might be, you know. It might just be. I don't have a large Clarkson holder. I don't know. Nah. Probably not. But we'll see, won't we? More investigation required. Actually, nah. Okay, and the last one. Another one of these. Huh. 15.9. Could be a 5/8. And the thread, yeah, that's imperial. That's half width. So that's going to be a 5/8 cutter. 2 screws. That's the end of those. So look, next thing is I'm going to degrease them. And we'll clean them up. But those bits are not the only bits I've got. Been given a viewer gift with some other exciting parts. So these are a gift from Jason again, because he sent me a collet holder earlier in the year, and these can be classified as other exciting parts. They're all for the mill. A couple of handles. They're not easy to find if you want them. And then 2 arbors. We'll take a look at those in a minute. And various collars and spacers. I don't know what that is yet. Threaded at one end, it might have been homemade. It's keyed at this end. It's got a screw used to go through there, but it's missing. Let's look at this. Where's my anything when you want it? Hang on a minute. 18.95, so take your pick. 3/4 or 19 mil. This end, 11. Thread, don't know. We'll have to figure out. It's a bit like an extension of some kind. We'll have to figure that out. Anyway, I'll bring you in so you can see a bit more of this. So lots of collars. If you tried to buy these collars on eBay, you know how expensive they are. And I did point out to Jason, look, you know, you could be selling this stuff. And he said, matey, you're welcome to have them. Now I have recently bought some Evaporust, which I need to try out on a few things besides these. Oh, what's this? Hang on. Ooh, a scale. Look, well, a clicky scale. Harris, England. Interesting. Oh, thank you for that. I can imagine that being useful somewhere. I don't know where yet. Spacers, which are quite rusty, but we'll see what happens when we put them in the Evaporust. A key. Shabby. Another key. Maybe a homemade space, I can't tell. Quite a few of these are inch, some of them are smaller. I'll have to work through those, won't I? But these, they are 1 inch, I think. Hold on. Yeah, they're 1 inch. Left-hand thread at this end. Can you see that? Yes, left-hand thread at this end. And the thread here, that's got to be half Whitworth. Hold on. No. Let's try half UNC. Half UNC. So they'll be interesting. Now, I thought I might, because I've got a pair, both the same, I thought I might make a short arbor out of one of these. A short 1 inch arbor. Bring that back to there or something. Don't know for sure. Plenty of bushes. All of that. Could be useful. Right. Now I've had a quick look at this, but I'm not certain what it is. It's clearly an arbor. And it's very thin. Where are we? See if I can get that in there. It is 1/2 inch. And this end, it's a bit short on that end, but it's probably good enough. I'm going to guess UNC. And I'm going to guess Whitworth. Yes, Whitworth. Okay. It's got plenty of sleeves on it. It needs cleaning up. Some of them are stuck, and it's got a cutter there. I don't know what that cutter is. I'll try not to lose this from shot, but there's the cutter, look. It's double-sided, this one here. So that's curious. We'll find out what that is maybe when we get it off. So thank you, Jason. Let's get them cleaned up. I'm not going to ask you to watch me clean all these, but I will do a few. This one is the most interesting to me. These are the 12s. Well, I don't know about that one for sure, but the end's broken off anyway, so it can be anything I want, because I'd have to weld a new end on it. So if you know what this is, let me know. It's not, well, I won't say what it's not, because I don't know what it's not, because I don't know what it is. I do know this isn't working. Let's have a look. This is some stuff my son's got and lent me. It's good stuff, actually. I'd rather be using gunk, you know, something you could water down, soluble, because it's cheaper, but I don't know. I got one of these kits with my car, and I'm not interested in cleaning cars. I only take my car for a service so that I don't have to clean it. Right. And then any rust that's left on it, we can just take it off with a bit of, what do you call it, Evaporust. I'm particularly keen to see if these have got any brand names on them. So that's number 1. That'll do. I'll just do this one and then I'll do the rest off camera, to be honest. It's not really a spectator sport, is it? We'll put some of these bits in Evaporust. I've not used it before. Now, somebody did say to me, I think it was Jason actually, afterwards, wash the parts off with water, otherwise they'll go black. Apparently you can reuse this stuff. So you just keep it and keep reusing it. I suppose at some point it runs out. Doesn't work, but I don't know what that is because I've never used it before. So let's find something to put in. And then you leave it, I don't know, half a day, 12 hours, 24 hours, something like that, depending on how much you need to remove. I'll just chuck a load of bits in here. Doesn't look bad, does it? That. Yeah, okay, and then some of these collars. See what they turn out like. Guaranteed to knock everything over, obviously. Well, these have come up quite nicely. I did polish them on the wire wheel, but they are still quite black. But I think it's quite a nice effect. So these bushes, 3 inch, 3 inch, 2 3/4 by the look of it, 2 inch, 1 1/4, 1 inch, 7/8 maybe, ½ inch, that's 1 2 3 4 ½ inch bushes, 5/8, and a couple of others. All the shims have come up okay. Very few, if any, of these adapters said anything on them. There was one, this one says what inserts to use. Looking forward to using that one. Now there's a few that I haven't bothered to clean. So these ones, there were 3 of these, and the drawbar thread's wrong for me anyway, and plus I'd probably use a Clarkson tool holder rather than these, unless, you know, I just come across a whole lot of cutters that just have the flat on them to take the screw, and then I'll think about it again. And then there was just this other one here, which is Whitworth thread, and then a 3/4 spigot for a face mill. Well, this arbor that Jason sent me has come up nicely. Now I thought at first that this must be shop made, but it clearly isn't shop made. Now that I get it apart, so that bit goes on there, like that. This screws in. Bear with me while I get this started. Oh, it's going. My hands are so slippery with the oil on it. That's it. And then when you've got that screwed in, there's a pinhole lines up. You can put a pin through. All your bushes just slide on here. I guess this is what you'd expect. But now they're all free moving. And I suppose it's some kind of, what, line boring arbor? Do you know? There's the cutting tool, look. I could imagine it being extremely useful for something. Yeah, so once again, Jason, thanks very much. That's cleaned up ever so nicely. And I've cleaned up the other bits that Jason sent me. So these 2 handles you've seen, I've discovered that this goes onto this handle here. This is keyed to suit the handle. So it's like an extension. It's reamed and keyed here, I suppose, and there's a pin there. So somebody might know what that was from. And then these 2, and then these 2, I freed off this collar. And curiously, this one has a half Whitworth thread, and this one as a half UNC thread. And then the box I've cleaned up as best I can. Now it says on top, and you won't be able to read that because it's so faint, Arbor 4, and then it seems to say something like enter, E-N-T-E-R, enter, center, I don't know. And this number, it's almost like an ammunition box. I don't know what would be in it. Would it be a mortar? I don't know. I wasn't in the army, I don't know. Anyway, that's very useful. So I can keep a lot of my Int30 adapters, just chuck them in there. Well, as usual, I've just thought of something to tag on to the end. So with that batch of Int30 adapters, I got 3 Collet chucks. So this one that has a nut, this one that doesn't have a nut, and they're quite different from each other. And then this one, which is my favourite, but I don't know what it is. Now, it doesn't fit Clarkson's, it's too narrow here. And I had a look online, and the nearest I could see was something called Acramil. Now, I've never encountered Acramil collets before. It may not be, but you might know, so let me know if you do. But the other thing I wanted to do was give you a warning, actually, about Evaporust. I'll show you the effect of it in a minute, but when I look online, it says 3 things. Number 1, it's essential to fully immerse the item that you're derusting. Secondly, if you can't fully immerse it, work your way around it, rotate round. And thirdly, you can't leave it in too long. It will not affect the metal. Well, one of those statements is not true, I can tell you. Because if you look at this, and I'll probably zoom in a second, I left this half submerged because I didn't have enough space in my pot, but it was only rusty on one side. And it's created a tide mark across here. This stripe that you can see, it's actually where the fluid came to the air. It's etched it. Now I left that in about 12 hours, something like that, maybe a bit more even. So you really have to be careful with this stuff. It's not as benign as it appears. It seems to be absolutely fine as long as you submerge it fully. But let me zoom into this. So that is an etched line. If I put my scriber into it, I can follow that line. Well, mostly follow that line. And it was, this part was submerged and this part was in the oxygen. So if you care about things, don't leave them in too long, and certainly make sure that they are fully submerged. There's no evidence of problems anywhere else. It's just at that interface between the fluid and the air. And it also affected one of my other adapters as well. Not that one, I think that one. Yeah. So it's not as bad, that one. No, it's not. So that's a bit of a warning. I found that most rusty things would become clean within, I don't know, 3 hours. And if you do leave them in for too long, they just go black anyway, which is not unpleasant to look at. You see, there's another tide mark there, look, can you see? Across there, where I just dropped it in this way. So let that be a warning to people. Okay, see you next time.